Now it's a new month, which means new challenges, new things to do, and I actually challenged myself. That's the big thing. I challenged myself to do 30 days of just using either the Steam Deck or the Nintendo Switch. What would it feel like if I diverted all of my energy to just these devices? We're day 3 into it. Oh golly, dropped my thing. And I wanted to do this for multiple reasons, and I'm not going to check in with you on any more of these. Today is just the day I'm more just talking about the reasonings behind it, because I want to do like a true full 30 days later thing of what happens when I just do this. Now, there are a couple things that I was thinking about when I was first trying to look into this. One is the first, minimizing all of the gear. Getting down to just a couple of things, a couple of pieces of hardware. That was number one priority. How can I get down to just a couple pieces of hardware? 2 was, how can I simplify my gaming so I didn't have so many choices? That was another big thing. And we'll get more into that. We got a Equator coffee here. It is a Peruvian coffee. We're gonna try it out. First rip, just opened it up. See what's going on here. Okay, smells all right. We're gonna go with a size 4 grind, and I'm just gonna free pour because I'm gonna purge this, and we're gonna go with 25 grams. But I'm purging it to get rid of whatever's in the chamber. And my original purpose for doing this thing was I do like challenges. They're great. Also, they make good content, so I was like, hey, this is a 2 for 2. I can challenge myself to do just these devices and go from there. Another thing was, I want to see, like, is it really a viable option for people who want to simplify their gaming selection, right? I know for me as a dad, I pretty much just have this flexible location gaming as an option. So this is more of a necessity than anything else. But when it comes down to it, I mainly do this because I really like gear. I like gear a ton. I'm a gearhead. And so oddly enough, because I'm a gearhead, I'm more fascinated with how few pieces of tech do I have to have on my person at one time, or accessible to me to do the most amount, right? That's really the big thing. What devices do I need to access the majority, if not all, of my gaming, right? And so, first and foremost, we have the Steam Deck. Well, let's do the Nintendo device first, and why the Nintendo device made the cut, because some people would look at that and be like, I don't understand why you're still using your Nintendo device when it's kind of outdated. You're right on a lot of levels. You're absolutely right. The reason why I've maintained or decided to keep the Nintendo device in the mix is primarily because there are games on that device that I really enjoy that are pretty much just available to me on Nintendo. Come on, dude. Start counting up. Nintendo Switch, right? Those first-party titles, I'm just gonna run that way. Can I technically emulate them? Sure, I can. I can try to find some sort of Switch emulator, although that seems to be a thing of the past. But I could technically emulate them because I own them, rip them myself, go down that road, but I've chosen not to do that. I'm just sticking to having more than one device. And so that is what it is. It's actually not here. I think it's in the living room because I was playing while watching my boy. And so the Nintendo Switch is actually the simplest of them all. It's more of a legacy console, I guess, for me. The reason why I'm keeping it in the rotation, because there's so many games that I already have on it. To forego or ditch that library completely isn't necessarily something I want to do, especially when it comes to games that you can play, like Tears of the Kingdom, or stuff that you just chip away at. I haven't fully finished, so... And by fully finished, I finished the story, but I didn't finish some of the extra stuff. I can already tell you right now that this was the wrong grind size. I can see it. It's going to take forever to drip out. Whatever, we make our mistakes. Now, the Steam Deck, on the other hand, this is kind of like a cheater's console. There's a lot you can do with this and technically say that you're Steam Deck only, but in reality, you're more than just the Steam Deck. So let's talk about a few things. One, emulation. Emulation on the Steam Deck itself is incredible. EmuDeck, great thing. If you're into emulation, this is probably one of the better devices to do it on because of the user-friendly aspect. So what you do with EmuDeck is you install it on the PC side of things, you let it run its scripts, you let it do what it needs to do, and after it's done, all you have to do is start importing your ROMs, putting them in the right folders, and it'll go, you'll have the art, the box art for the games, as well as, and this is the cool thing, the game's categorized by console in library form so that when you're on the Steam OS side of things, you can just select them as if they were, let me see if I can get a little agitation here to see if I can maybe get a better extraction. Oh, I'm not confident that this is going to be good. Really not confident in this at all. But we'll see. Anyway, you can have those games there as if they're just a normal game that you would have otherwise available on your Steam library. Pretty cool. And what I like about it is it's all on the Steam side, right? Sure, booting into either is not that difficult at all. It's really actually pretty simple. You hold down the power button, you say go over to desktop mode, and it does the thing. It's not the easiest to navigate through desktop mode. You do have to do touchpad stuff, and its accuracy isn't quite there if your thumbs are big. Mine aren't overly large, but I can imagine for people with bigger hands, it's not going to be the most exciting experience. But for me, I like that it can all be done on the SteamOS side. It just lends itself to a better user experience, and I'm all about that. Especially when there's so much tinkering you can do on these things, whenever they can simplify it, that's better for me. You have to do a couple things to push and to direct where the libraries are being formed. But all of that is very well documented when you go through the installation process of EmuDeck. I don't remember if it was on the website or if they have a text file. Either way, there's very little confusion on their end. They're extremely clear. And there's prompts that exist in the whole installation process that help you navigate along the way. Okay, let's look at this coffee bed right now. It's looking kind of muddy. Yeah, I don't really like the fines that I'm seeing on this one either. But hey, we'll see. Looking at the extraction, I'm not super impressed with my job. I don't think I did a particularly exciting job with this one, but we'll see. The taste really is going to define how good this is. All right, it's a 4, so we're going to go with amber. Shout out to you, Chase. Hate you, love you. All right, let's see here. Let's pour some off, let it cool down. And as it cools down, we'll continue to talk about some of the other things that make it so that the Steam Deck kind of cheats as the one to rule them all. So as I'm saying, you have the EmuDeck side of things. So you're able to emulate all of your Nintendo games that you would be able to use with Nintendo Switch Online. However you want to look at that, whether you're stealing, whether you're not, whether you have the rightful ownership of them because you have the cartridges, whatever, dude. That is your thing. I'm not going to say either direction. I think game preservation is important. However that's achieved, I would love to see games being preserved. Older games that are hard to get, I'd love to see them easier. I'd like to see it easily accessible. I'd like to see it easier. I'd want to be able to get them easier. Good Lord Almighty. And so, whatever. Emulation is its own thing. You know what? You want to know where I stand on emulation? I agree with Bob Wolf. Boom. There we go. That's how I feel about emulation. Go watch all of his videos. He's an incredible creator. And hey, Bob, if you ever watch one of these, I'd really like to make a video with you. Moving on. Emulation on here is really nice. Really nice. For those of you with extensive libraries, you're going to have a good time. And it does it really, really well. Now, I will say that managing storage has become somewhat of an issue for me. Didn't think the 512 side was going to be actually not enough, but it actually is turning out to be not enough because games are so gosh darn big. That being said, if you joined the stream last time, which was on Tuesday, mind you, if you want to hop in the streams, it's not JDX Coffee anymore because that was for some reason tricking the YouTube algorithm. So it's just Julian Melnick 2, spelled out TWO. Julian Melnick 2. Also, it's linked below, so you can just join those and be a part of the live streams. But I live downloaded Ni no Kuni, which was a 30 gig file in 6 minutes. We got to 500 megabytes down. It was awesome. We are sitting there. Pretty funny stuff. We were joking, what's the over under for 500, right? It was fun. So anyway, this device, you're going to have some storage stuff you're going to deal with, whatever. That's not the point. This is about the one device to rule them all kind of thing. Emulation handles a lot of these retro titles, so to speak. Let's say you want to play a retro title that's only available on Xbox. Well, chances are you can probably find it. And so, there you go. That's its thing. Not going to go too far into that. So, EmuDeck. Great. Next is the streaming side of things. Now, this is where the cheating happens because technically it's not one device. Technically, you have your PC or a PlayStation 5. Xbox kind of gets hung out to dry on this, and I'm realizing that the further I get away from the whole Xbox ecosystem, the more shallow it seems. It really seems like it's a device that is kind of there if you have nothing else. But if you have any other sort of PC device like a Steam Deck or a ROG Ally or whatever it may be, you find yourself, or PC just right there, you find yourself needing an Xbox less and less as these years go on, which is probably why there's so much conversation around them getting into the handheld market, or maybe even dissolving the whole Xbox console thing as a whole. All right, first sip, let's see how this goes. First sip, everyone knows the rules. Where did I get that from? Not as bad as I was expecting. It's actually not bitter. I was expecting it to be bitter. Another sip. Don't worry, I'll mute it because I'm slurping. I'm gonna loosen it up one for the next brew, which will be tomorrow. And this is exactly what it says it is. It says that the tasting notes are gonna be orange, graham cracker, and caramel. And I am absolutely tasting all three of those notes. Hey, Equator Coffees. Great work. This is the Peru. Here, just look. I can't read that. There's so many letters. Kyronos, regenerative, organic certified. Guys, don't really go out of your way to buy organic certified. It's such a scam. I'm just gonna not go into organic. Organic and all that stuff it's a brand, just so you guys know. Organic certified is a brand. That's what it is. You pay money to get a stamp. Sure, they do a couple tests here and there, but you can have even better organics and try not to use pesticides, whatever. Use all natural stuff and not have the money to spend on the organic stamp and have a better product. And the stupid organic branding by the USDA, which is nonsense to begin with, that whole thing is just there to make you feel good about yourself. That stamp is useless. I'm not saying don't buy organic. What I am saying, though, is don't trust everything you see. Okay, that's my conspiracy theory thing for the day. Continuing on to how the one device to rule them all. I don't think it's achievable, if I'm being honest with you. Well, it's not achievable because this next section is technically cheating, but I'm okay with that. Streaming. Streaming has become more and more popular, and I'm not talking about playing video games, which I already alluded to, 5:30 a.m., Tuesday, Thursday, Friday on Julian Melnick 2. I'm alluding to streaming from your device to your more beefier device to this one. Steam Link, I believe is what it's called. Streaming a higher resolutions, better powered games from your at-home PC to your device not only prolongs battery life, but could potentially give you a better visual experience because all of the grunt work is happening on the PC side, and this is just a window to that device. And with its upgraded Wi-Fi features, and if you have a good wireless connection, like I obviously do, you can really achieve something quite special, allowing your PC to do all the legwork and this just having to pick up kind of the image and the information coming off of that. It's pretty cool. And not only can you do this with PC, but you can also do this with your PlayStation 5 with something called Chiaki or Kiaki, however you want to read it, for Deck. Something that I have yet to experience fully. I'm in the installation process. Actually, by the time you've seen this, I might have already installed it completely. I've been going through how to do it and watching videos. Those two things make this so much more than just a Steam Deck itself, right? Yes, this has the ability to play Steam's library. I'm not going to say, I'm reluctant to say their full library because it isn't the full library. There are a good deal of games that aren't really playable. Some of them are advertised as works, but really once you get them on there, you're like, dude, this is a slog and it's just not as fun. And others are just not playable because of anti-cheat or whatever it may be. Some of the games that I want to play, I can't, or experience for that matter, because it really, I don't know anything about Valorant. I've always wanted to play Valorant. I can't really do it on this. And again, I say this because I can't. Maybe you can because you're able to get around a bunch of stuff, but you have to install anti-cheat for games like Valorant, Call of Duty, and you can't get around to those things on this as easily, or maybe for me at all. I can't. I don't know how. I'm not going to try, because I don't want to try to break into the system just to play one game for 15 minutes. You know what I mean? I'm looking for a solution, not potential problem. Okay? Maybe building a car out of popsicle sticks and duct tape isn't the best idea. Sure, you can technically do it, but it's going to end up getting yourself into some bigger issues down the line, right? And that's kind of the way I look at some of the things people do. They go, well, technically you can do this. And I'm like, well, technically, great. I'm not looking for the technical, like, yes, it can be done. I'm looking for is it going to be done well? Or better yet, is it going to be good enough? And by good enough, I mean good enough to play for long periods of time. I don't want to experience connectivity and all this stuff on a regular basis. So when I say stuff like this can technically stream it's not technically, it's a feature. You can stream your games off of your PC to this. Cloud streaming, I think. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe not. I might be getting that terminology wrong. But at any rate, it makes this a very, very usable and multi-dimensional device. And I think that is what has become more exciting to me as I've gone past the honeymoon phase of it's a new piece of technology that I'm using, new to me at least, and into the practical phase, which is, well, now how can I apply this solution to the different needs I have as a very busy dad and a flexible location gamer? Like, how can I do that? Can you technically play or stream off of your PC elsewhere outside of your network? Yeah, you just have to have a good connection, and that's really a big thing. Going through, it can be done, but that's really not where I'm using it in my use case, right? Just kind of like the PlayStation Portal, how that can technically be done if you're you have a hotspot and you're using that, but you might not want to, because it might not be the most exciting or fun experience. You run into some issues with connectivity and bandwidth drops and stuff like that. Okay, now it's cooled off. Let's try another sip. That's actually really good. I'm super surprised. That was really good. All right, this is a Peru. Let's write that on there so I don't forget it. Dang, dude. Good on you. Super, super impressed. I think this is the Oso. Yeah, let's do that too. Let's get the Oso going. Ooh, for Oso. And then the last one is the Rwanda. I now have 3 tins full. I want to make sure that they're all marked so I get them right. So back to the Steam Deck, that has really gotten me excited about the 1-2 punch. And if this is able to do this, I'm really even more excited about the future of what this style of gaming is. I'm going to reiterate the fact that I'm such a gearhead. I love, love, love having gear and the feeling of gear, but I love when it's really, really compact, minimalist, and multifunction. I think that is really what it is. I don't want to be carrying around 9 different things, a gaming laptop, another device, a third device, fourth. I want 2 at most that are going to crush it, right? And so when it comes to this portable, this flexible location gaming experiment that I'm putting myself through in April, I really wanted to push the limits of some of the devices as they stood. The Nintendo Switch, honestly, is almost not necessary in this challenge, but it kind of works. Mainly because I have a couple games I want to play. Maybe I may not even use it much. Kind of am now, like Super Smash Brothers. I was kind of feeling it, so I wanted to play it. But I'm not having gaming sessions. On this, Ni no Kuni 1, super stoked on that. Having a good time playing that. Right? Other games I want to experiment with. I'm repurchasing games, which sucks, but I'm doing it anyway because I want to have them natively. Sure, I can play Sea of Stars through Kiaki for Deck from my PlayStation 5 to my Steam Deck, but I want it in my Steam library a little bit more organized, right? Because that's another thing. I'd rather purchase a game for the second time on Steam to have it as a part of my Steam library because I am pretty sure, if not 100% sure, that when it comes to the primary place I'm going to purchase games, it's going to be on Steam. the exception of a few that I would still purchase on PlayStation over the next year. Maybe if there's another Final Fantasy game or maybe some DLC for the older ones, sure, I'll get that for the PlayStation. But as it stands now, there's nothing I'm gonna buy for that thing. And Nintendo, again, same thing. I didn't get Princess Peach's, whatever stage call. I don't know the name. And I was on the fence about Paper Mario's Thousand Year Door. I am gonna get it because it's an RPG. I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm gonna enjoy the heck out of it. And so that will be got. And maybe I'll stream it. Maybe I won't. I'm not really sure. Because right now, all the streaming that happens over on Julian Melnick 2 is from this. Actually, the rule that I made for that channel is any streaming that happens is either from a Steam Deck or from a Nintendo Switch, not a PlayStation 5. And if I decide once I have a PC to stream off of that, then that might be a case too. But I'm not going to be using my PlayStation 5 for streaming anymore, even though there's some games on there that I have. Whatever. I'm just not going to do it. This challenge is birthed out of the idea where I want to put my money where my mouth is. I've been talking at length about this solution, Steam Deck, all this good stuff. And I thought, well, what does it look like if I decide this is what I'm going to use? I'm not going to use anything else. I'm never going to sit down at my desk for whatever, right? That's what this is. Sure, I can, but I'm not going to. What does that truly look like? And so once this all sums up, this will be a Sunday recap, right? So Sundays are going to be fully produced videos. This at the end of April, so first week of May, maybe second week, I'm going to be kind of making a full-blown video about how was the experience? Is it realistic? Did my expectations get let down? I don't know. I really don't know. I have already run into some of the things that I'm like, interesting. For instance, I don't have a gaming PC, so playing some games I have on here, such as Final Fantasy 15 as a test or stuff like that, it just looks way better on the PlayStation 5. It's way more optimized, and streaming through Kiaki for Deck isn't the most fun way of going about things. Technically, it works, and it's really something that I want to use more for games that like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Like, I want to play it, right? I want to play a lot of it, but I don't necessarily want to sit at my desk, okay? And so that's that. But I would much rather not have to stream it and just have it natively. And the Steam Deck doesn't have the best version of it. It has a Windows version, but it's not the best. Something I'm learning about a lot of this stuff is Windows ports or PC ports aren't always, and in some cases, more likely than not, they're not as good as console ports. Why is that? I don't know why that is. Let me know in the comments. That's our question for the day. I hope that this was somewhat enlightening. Maybe you got something out of it. Maybe not. This is just me sharing with you guys. Join a stream Tuesdays, Wednesdays. Nope. Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. 5:30 a.m. to around 7:30 a.m. Grab some merch below. Help support the community. But most of all, happy gaming.